Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya
Hare Krishna. Can the devotees on YouTube live confirm if you are able to hear the sound? You can just drop in a message in the chat box and we can see if you are able to hear us. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
ये वाला पास करना तो इसका सारे पूरा
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, we have connected the mic for the live here, so can you use this mic? We have checked it. It will be there on the YouTube.
And this is for the speakers. You know, some people are going to speak, and then as for MC, we just call the people. So this should be with the speakers.
yeah
Those are the
input.
input.
Okay.
Put on the mic. They understand.
All right. Hare Krishna. Can the YouTube viewers please confirm if this audio is also audible to you? We are speaking from the speaker's mic.
A very brief kirtan, just to keep the atmosphere in charge of. Then we start now.
किसको देना रहेगा ये जब वो स्पीकर आएगा
Speaker आएगा, उसको देना।
और जो चल रहा है अनाउंसमेंट वो तो उस पर होगा ना।
तब निकाल सकते हैं। जैसे अपने पास से रखिएगा और इसको बीच में कैसे
हाँ, हाँ।
रखिएगा।
we have proposed for such a melodious tune. That's the base for glorifying His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj. So, myself and Capital Group, we are going to be co-emceeing the ceremony today. So before we begin, first and foremost, is to understand the meaning of Vyasa Puja. So to give us the understanding why Vyasa Puja is important and why disciples have to engage in this activity of celebrating the appearance day of the spiritual master. We will invite His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj, who is a sannyas disciple of Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj, to give us the meaning of Vyasa Puja. His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj.
I think we should put one chair somewhere. We have to put one chair somewhere.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Rama Rama.
Rama Rama.
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
So we welcome everyone here. We welcome everyone here.
Disciples of Srila Prabhupada, Kavichandra Swami Maharaj, who has been helping out with the preaching in West Africa as a GBC. He sacrificed his time to be here, so we appreciate his presence and the presence of other proper disciples. And of course, all of you who have made out some time to come to participate or to honor this glorious day. So Vyasa Puja, as we understand literally, means the worship of Vyasa Dev. And so the spiritual master is a representative of Srila Vyasa Dev. Vyasa Dev is the author of the Vedic literatures. And what normally happens traditionally is that the spiritual master is worshipped every day. We do the puja every day. And of course, in our society, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON, we have many, many gurus. And so that conduct of devotional worship by the spiritual master in the temples is not practical. And on occasions like this, which is the appearance of the spiritual master, the Vyasa Puja day, we honor this day because the spiritual master sacrificed his life, sacrificed his convenience to reach out to us. I mean, it's like we find the case of Srila Prabhupada. He was in Radha Damodara temple, the convenience of Vrindavan, and he sacrificed his convenience, his devotional convenience, and sailed out of India to the west to establish Krishna consciousness. So basically the spiritual master is a giver. He gives. And not only gives, he takes the burden. You know, I was listening to Prabhupada. He said, at the time of initiation, the spiritual master absorbs the sinful reactions of the disciple. Now, our parents cannot do that for us. Our loved ones cannot do that for us. It's only one person who can do that for us, who will create a sustainable and an enabling environment for our emancipation from the clutches of material incoherences. So, worship, literally, I carry out his or her instructions. I carry out his or her instructions. Otherwise, the very terminology worship makes no sense. Whether you want to address it from a literal perspective or otherwise, worship implies that we are in a mood of serving the instructions of that person. Anyone can come to koto to you. Anyone can come and pay dandavas to you. But it doesn't mean that they are worshiping you. No. Because, in fact, in one of the offenses to be avoided, we have 10 offenses to be avoided in the matter of chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And one of those offenses is that the chanter should endeavor to see that they don't disobey the orders of the spiritual master. In other words, they carry out the instructions of the spiritual master. And sometimes, you know what? Instructions of the spiritual master could be so horrible from our own perception. So I can give you an example. When I was in Africa, a young brahmachari, and at that time I was serving as the regional secretary. So then some devotees were killed in Liberia, including a white female devotee. Her father is a medical doctor. And our spiritual master, Srila Bhakti Tirtha Swami, he told me, Vasudev, you go to Liberia and find out exactly how the devotees got killed. War was still going on in that country. So to worship a guru is not just paying obeisances to them. Are we ready to sacrifice our life for the spiritual master? In fact, when I flew into into Cote d'Ivoire, at that time, the president of that temple was a disciple, he's late now, a disciple of Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj. And when I went there, he educated me, he gave me a class. He sat me down and gave me a class. Why I should not follow the guru's order. With all good intent. Because according to his explanation, in fact, he took me to the road and he showed me people who are coming from Liberia. He said, you go here where they're saying how people are being maimed, being killed. You want to go. You cannot come back. So then I turned to him and asked him, such and such Prabhu, so between you, your class, your good instructions, and the spiritual master's instructions, who shall I take? I looked at him right in the face and told him, is it you? Get up from my life. I went to Liberia. I'm talking about how the instruction of the guru could be so delicate and sometimes life-threatening. I went to Liberia. I did not have a return flight ticket. I went, did investigations, and was ready to leave Liberia. I had no return ticket. I went to the streets of Monrovia. What was going on in that country? In fact, when we flew into the airport, the whole airport was armed with soldiers. I went to the streets of Liberia to do Kirtan to raise money for my ticket. So to have a guru is not a gulab jamun. I tried to raise the money. I was not forthcoming. So I spoke with him on the phone. This is my difficulty. I'm trying to raise money to get out from this place. It's not happening. So he arranged for my ticket to leave the country. So sometimes we accept a spiritual master, and I have also seen people who accept a spiritual master, they take initiation today, and then the next day they want to meet the spiritual master, the brahmacharis in the temple, and they tell the spiritual master, I'm leaving. The next day, that is not Vyasa Puja. And so let's be clear. Vyasa Puja means carrying out the instructions of the spiritual master. If you have not gotten any instructions from your spiritual master, maybe you should not ask, maybe you should ask. But if you do have one, if you do have one and you are able to implement it, to execute it, that will be the perfection of your spiritual life. This is what Prabhupada did exactly for his spiritual master, Srila Bhakti Tirtha Swami. The very first time Prabhupada met Srila Bhakti Tirtha Swami in Calcutta, and that place of their first meeting is still there. How many of you have been there? Good for you. Okay. The first instruction he gave to him was the same instruction that he gave to Prabhupada when he was to leave. When Bhaktisiddhanta was sick and Prabhupada got to know about that, he wrote him and said, you're about to leave, what is your final instruction for me? The same thing he repeated. Go and spread Krishna consciousness in the West to the English-speaking people of the West. Then Prabhupada realized, this is my commission. And so, a devotee must ask himself or herself, what is my commission? We have the same mission statement. Lord Chaitanya inaugurated this Sankirtan movement. The spiritual master is just following the mission statement, the vision, and the goals of Lord Chaitanya. Prabhupada established his goals, his mission, and his vision for ISKCON. His disciples, his spiritual masters, our present spiritual masters, they are just following the flow, as we would say. So the worship of the spiritual master is the perfection of our spiritual life. It's the perfection of our devotional practice. And the worship implies carrying out the instructions of the spiritual master, whether in the snow, in the summer, in fire, whatever condition. A word is enough for the wise. We've been hearing this topic every year. So, I would like to thank you again for coming to participate in this program. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Bhakti Masundev Maharaj, for this definition of Vyasa
Maybe switch it on, it's off problem.
Thank you very much, Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj, for such an elaborate definition and explanation of Vyasa Puja. Actually, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj has always been given a very difficult service, and he has always excelled in that service. Guru Maharaja told him that he should preach to the academic community. And to do that, he had to go back to college, go back to the university, and achieve a PhD. Because for the academic community, if you are not at par with them, they don't listen to you. So therefore, even though he was involved in preaching, in management, and so many other services as a devotee, he had to carry out that very difficult instruction by going back to the university to study for many years, and gradually he earned a PhD in managerial science. And now he's preaching to many, many academicians. He has programs in universities, Oxford, and many other universities around the world, even in Delhi, in London, in USA. So that's another difficult service Guru Maharaj gave him, and he's doing it so nicely. So thank you very much. So we shall set the ball rolling by inviting His Holiness Srila Tirtha Swami Maharaj. Srila Tirtha Swami Maharaj is a godbrother to Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj. In fact, they have been co-GBCs for West Africa for many years before Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj disappeared from this earth. And so, currently, Kavichandra Maharaj is our main GBC. He comes yearly to inspire us. He comes to see what is happening. He arranges for books. He arranges for many things. So we are very grateful that His Holiness Kavichandra Swami Maharaj continue to give us his guidance and support the preaching. And so we are happy that he's here to speak about His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj.
Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Parakamanam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sajajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Sahita Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitam Cha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvisesha Sunyavari Paschachade Satarane Vansha Kalpa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namah Namo Mahabharanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namani Gora Tuishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langaya Tegrim Tat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurundina Tarane. Okay, so I'll try. We all know Bhakti Tirtha Swami is one of the most eloquent speakers that has graced our movement. So I'm not one of those. He was, one thing that it was very nice to hear what is Vyasa Puja. It looks like devotees think Vyasa Puja means birthday, right? 75th Vyasa Puja, 85th. It's not exactly that because, like myself, I never heard of Vyasa until I was 25 years old or something. So it wouldn't be my 78th Vyasa Puja birthday. But anyway, that's not important. But the main thing is we're worshiping Vyasadeva and honoring the Guru who represents Vyasadeva. So in the Vaishnava Gaudiya, we do that on the birthday, appearance day of the Guru. Otherwise, in the Mayapur, they have just one day, Vyasa Puja, it's a general day, but here we're more specific. Bhakti Tirtha Swami, two little stories. 2 times he got instruction from Prabhupada. One time was very early when he was first in the temple. So I don't know how how America was at that time. It was civil rights, which meant that people of color, whatever they call them, could go to the same schools, and it didn't start till 1965 or something. And it wasn't really accepted or widespread. It still isn't in many ways, and there were very few, in the temple. So when he talked to Prabhupada, he said, there's racial prejudice here in the temple. Prabhupada said, don't be like them. And he liked that instruction. In other words, don't you become prejudiced, because they are. That's a good advice for anybody in anything. If people are criticizing you and angry at you, don't be like them, Then it's useless. It just turns into arguments. The other time was very near the end of Prabhupada's life, when he had been distributing books in the communist countries, and he was very well known for that. And he would write a report every month, and Tamal Krishna Maharaj would read that to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada loved it very much. He was really happy about it. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj thought, well, I'll have him personally, present his report. So the day before, he had met Prabhupada, and he was, kneeling down, and Prabhupada was patting his head and crying and praising him like anything. And he this is the way he told it. He gave him a little proud. And then, so the next day, he started reading his report, and Prabhupada wasn't paying any attention. He was looking around, distracted and doing other things. Then he realized, he said, don't become proud. Prabhupada had different ways of instructing. Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, he had special power that anyone ever spent time with him felt like, he loves you, he loves me so much. He had that ability to forget everything else and just focus on the person he was with or the person he was preaching to, whatever. It's a very special thing. You read about different famous great personalities, leaders, political leaders, preachers. They have that ability. He had tremendous energy for preaching, taking Prabhupada's order, because he loved Prabhupada's books. He had been reading Prabhupada's books for some time and, trying to get more of them. And he had seen devotees, but he thought these people are crazy. He didn't know they were the same people. So that's the way he told it. But then when he found out that this is where the books were coming from, then he somehow joined the temple right away. And he had what's considered a high-class education. Could have had, even he told me when we were traveling together, he said, because he graduated from Princeton University, even no matter how down and out he was, if he'd go to one of the classmates, they'd give him a job. So many have big businesses and everything. They stick together like that. He always got their newsletter. One time they even talked about him as a success story. But he used all that, the prestige of that was very helpful for preaching. I just saw the book yesterday that Utpala Prabhu wrote. A few days ago I saw his preaching in Africa. Unfortunately, that book didn't get outside of, I don't know where, outside of India or something. I had to print it again, but so he did a lot there. And it was a prime time. Krishna arranged when he went to Africa. The economies were good at the time. People are very intelligent, and in West Africa, many people very intellectual, well-read, and many people were attracted, like Srivas Prabhu, Bhakti Tirtha, Damodara Swami, and Bhakti Vyasa Swami, and many others. Very well-educated people that gave their life, to follow him. So I was blessed with, some association. He was extremely humble. One time I was distributing books at the airport, and their party, the library party, was at that temple, and he came out to the airport. He was following me around, and he was taking notes. I'm just saying, where are you from, what's happening, what do you do, blah, 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 George Harrison, this, that, nothing very spectacular, but he was taking notes. I was, what's going on? So he was especially known for dancing and his smile. The last time I saw him, I had heard, but we couldn't imagine. But the first thing I saw was the smile. He had a huge smile, and tears were coming. I was with Chandramali Swami, and I thought, well, he's fine. He looked so happy. And then I looked, and the one arm was hanging there; it didn't work at all, and one leg was gone. And he was skinnier than me. Previously, he'd been quite big, powerful. So then I understood. I told him, I said, I think you can recover, you can be fine. He said, no, I can do more by leaving. That was his determination. So he's doing it. He left a lot of really good books. Some of the books, the first spiritual warrior books, were criticized by devotees, God brothers, who didn't read them. One of them, I told him to read the whole book. No way, I'm not going to read that whole. And he read like one sentence that was totally out of context, and this is not Vedic. Blah, 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 blah. So then he wrote these books, commentaries on Ishopanishad and different things like that to show. But it turned out these first spiritual warrior books, there was a Maharaji in Radhadesh, and she was some sort of a psychology professor or something. And she said, I'm so glad somebody's writing about these issues, mental illness and all these things, because devotees really need this. So those books became very popular, even though they seemingly weren't, just a bunch of Shastra quoted, because he was dealing with things that everybody's suffering and dealing with and don't know what to do about it. One day in Mayapur, we had a seminar, 5 days or 4 or 5 days, forgiving those who have hurt you the most. Anybody go to that one? So it was a lot of devotees there, right? He always got the biggest crowd. There were 2 reasons. One was his personality. The other was the topics. So I went to see him the evening of the first day. He was like totally exhausted. He was just like slumped out in the chair. He said everybody was telling their stories. How they've been abused by their father and their uncle or whatever it was, whoever it was, and they were suffered so much. And he'd listening to all that, It's not easy. Like Catholic priests often become alcoholics or mentally ill because they hear all that stuff, psychiatrist stuff, and they can't take it. But then the last day, everybody forgave. Everybody came out of it, and a very important topic that hadn't been so much talked about nowadays, quite a bit, but in the outside world, he was more tuned into what was going on, so it had become a big topic. Forgiveness, they even have university courses, It's very, very important, but to know what forgiveness really is, Mahatma Prabhu started his career on forgiveness. He went to a forgiveness seminar, changed his life, so he Krishnized it and started giving it. And he told me one time he was doing it professionally, and then he did for devotees. He said, I was thinking for devotees it'd be very easy, karma and everything. But he said he couldn't believe it. He gave, and then they have a group break or something, and devotees were screaming at each other, you did this to me 25 years ago, and you said this, and he was shocked that they couldn't let go. The non-devotees could let go easier, Because for devotees, if we hurt somebody's, we don't know how to instruct people and make it seem like we're saying you're not a good devotee, you're not devoted. instead of just that this particular habit is not so good or something, then they get very hurt and they can't forget it. So he was able to teach all that stuff. And depression, was another issue that still a lot of people don't like to talk about. But he had studied those kind of things in the university. So he did a lot of innovative things. I traveled with him a bit, selling Srimad Bhagavatam sets. And that was, it's not like now where you can just go to the shopping mall and set up a table and people buy it. And, we had to give people like $5 a month payments. And we had some magazine that had all mystical weird things, aliens and everything. And then they got the list of subscribers and would call them up. And so these people were, into all that kind of stuff. So he would tell them, I'm an aura reader, and you have a really spiritual aura, but there's some cracks in it. In your previous life, you were a great yogi, but you made some offense, and now you took birth again. And they would be so fascinated by this, they're hypnotized, and then he would present the books, and that these are the most ancient books. It was true, and few people would take them. And that was the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam set sales. Now, some devotees sell a few every day, just on the road, in the parking lot, inside the Walmart, and all kinds of things that we couldn't do before. But so you're all very fortunate, and maybe some of you have. I like to hear the memories of devotees. In Africa, he was like a TV star. One station used to record a series of shows when he was there and then show them over and over again. The Guru, and they were fascinated by him. He did, he got the African clothes and would wear them in the university in America. And the way he did it, in that there's a university there in D.C. I don't know the name of it, but it's African American University, and they're very, intellectual people. So he would bring up these topics like aliens and pyramids, and then he would go and study that subject and weave that into making people Krishna conscious. One was called Technologies for Spiritual Advancement or something. And he talked about the 10 offenses. That was pretty far out. And then they recorded it. They had a fast copy machine in the back. And then they'd say, when you go out, you can have the tape for free if you give your name. And then they would follow up with all the people that took the tape. He had the Nishringa martial arts. One of the devotees was a policeman, I think he was a martial artist. And they would teach martial arts and then filter out the people that had spiritual inclinations. So these things that people found objectionable in those early books were quotes from these classes, which was nothing compared to what we said to people on book distribution outside. We would say anything and everything, about anything, as if we were the world's most expert on that subject, and then we could sell books, and we pull people in. If we see a hunter, oh yeah, I'm a hunter also. I killed a bear by bow and arrow, Oh, really? Wow, that's great. We'll take this book, So it wasn't really that far out, but somehow they thought maybe a few things, if you edited it, you wouldn't have put it in printing. But basically the book was, all Krishna consciousness. Made a lot of devotees in many countries. So I remember one was he's talking about the mothership and, the aliens, and I can't remember exactly. Somebody was protesting. I wrote out a big explanation of it and sent it, and they shut up, but they never replied to my explanation. But he just had that ability. He told me, I'm just promoting myself. That's all I do. I don't. But that is good. If you attract people to himself. Indaduna Maharaj is another expert at that. He gets people very much attracted to him, but then he just gives them Krishna. Here it is, and they take it because they have so much respect for the person. So we can learn. We can't copy, can't imitate, but we can try to follow. The intense dedication to Srila Prabhupada. I know how much he loved Prabhupada's books. When we were driving, he would just talk like, what are the 24 elements and things like that. Topics was always on Prabhupada's books. And he studied, very intensely. And he was totally dedicated. He had a very big taste for chanting. His japa was very, very intense. Everything was. And the results are there that the preaching in West Africa is still going on in spite of inconceivable interruptions, you might say mildly, economical, political, internal, external, everything, that him not, somebody blocked his visas at one point, so for many years he couldn't go there, and on and on and on. And then the economies became from good, the best in the world, to the worst, and still the devotees are sticking it out. Then we have like spectacular results like Bhakti Vasudev Maharaj, Bhakti Damodara Maharaj, Bhakti Srivas Prabhu. I have noticed, the changes since he left, how they became empowered with different aspects of his personality. His personality was very multifaceted. He could be this way and that way, but they're all each manifesting different aspects. Especially Bhakti Damodara Maharaj is very, Brahminical and with the puja, but also a very popular preacher. And I used to complain about him. He was always kind of in the corner and keeping quiet, and and I complained at Bhakti Tirtha. And he said, well, he's shy. But he's not shy anymore. There's no opposite of shyness. But, it came out, this smile. So, and there's many devotees there. We stuck it out through all unbelievable difficulties. So this is very admirable. This is why we worship the Guru. We want to hear from everybody because, at least my experience, when I read the Vyasa Puja offerings of my God brothers, many of them I don't even know them, or many of them I know them and somehow think, they're not what. But then when you read their memories and their feelings, their emotions, their love for the Guru, it's very helpful for bringing us all together and developing the same love for the God brothers that the Guru has for the disciples. That's an inconceivable thing, and it's very worthwhile to pick up. So I will let others speak. I can stay for a little while. I've been out with the Prikama, so I wanted to join them. He used to come out and join and dance. And when I saw him that last time, he was laughing, and he said, the two things I was the most attached to dancing and traveling. And he laughed. He said, one doctor appointment took it all away. He's finished. So he didn't complain. He just utilized it. He orchestrated his disappearance like really amazing and attracted the whole world and left in a very, very ideal way that Maharaji Sangita, who was with him, said he left, and I didn't. You can hear Radhanath Swami, he was there the last 4 weeks or something. How Krishna, he was so Krishna conscious, so absorbed. And he was not, it wasn't some small amount of suffering. The last morning I saw him, he said, it was so bad last night I wanted to die, he said. But then I saw him a few hours later and he was laughing and things goes up and down, but he orchestrated it. He still continued writing, producing some really amazing literature. And the beggar is very important because sometimes devotees, some of the devotees in Africa, because the economy is so bad, they start begging for money, But when he said the beggar, there was no question of money. He was begging Krishna for surrender, begging Krishna that he can really surrender. Very amazing poetry. So I recommend anybody who wants to have his association, read those books. They're all there. They're still available in many languages. So he made a big effort to produce all those books before he left, so there'd be something for the future. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. The chance to glorify devotee is a very special opportunity. So everybody, please don't be shy. Say something, even if it's just a few minutes, because it's very purifying. Jai. Srila Bhakti Tirtha Swami ki jai. And we're inviting everyone to visit West Africa. Even visiting there is very troublesome, just to get a ticket and a visa. That's why nobody visits. It's very expensive. And prices are going up. Insane to travel around inside Africa now. But to go to one country, it's not so bad from Europe. The devotees are very, very hospitable and very, very happy to have guests. So we're always inviting everybody, try to visit and join the Harinam. Very, very ecstatic Harinam. Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Shyam. Right? We heard that earlier. Hare Bol.
Yeah. His Holiness, Maharaj. Hey! Now we shall call on His Grace, Atul Krishna Prabhu, who will be going for the Parikram very soon, so he can make his offering. Before. So Atul Krishna Prabhu met Bhaktitirtha Maharaj in Lagos, Nigeria. And he has some very wonderful memories of his meeting with Bhaktitirtha Maharaj. Of course, he is one of our Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhava, Bhakti Vedanta teachers. When I came to do Bhakti Shastri in Mayapur in 2007, Atul Krishna Prabhu, Janastami Prabhu, they trained me up and they became my teachers. They guided me, and I'm always grateful for their kind guidance. And so that continues the relationship. Anytime I see him, it reminds me of his visit to Nigeria And we are also hoping that one day we will again come. Hare Krishna.
Mantra Guru Ajokta Shika Guru Banta Chorana Yagi Gori Abandon Mashaka Napavani Vaishnava Namo Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shmari Bhakti Tirtha Swami Namane Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shmari Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaudavani Pachani Nira Vishesha Shandavari Pashthatta Desha Tarnish Samaveda Gaud Bhakta Vindakira. Apologies for those of you who have heard what I have to say before, because I say the same thing every year, but I don't mind, because it was so fortunate that I got some association with Maharaj. Lavamatra Shadu Shangar Shabi Siddhi Hoy, a moment's association with such an exalted soul. Perhaps many of you never even met Maharaj, and I got there this ahoituki kripa for no reason. Actually, ahoituki, no reason, undeserving. I just happened to arrive in Lagos with another devotee. This is 30 years ago, 35 years ago. They were the days of selling paintings. And we went there. We didn't even know. We got there. We looked in the Bhakti Tirtha magazine. There's a temple. There's a temple here. So we go. We're in the temple. Omkar Prabhu, the temple president, he sees us. He says, welcome, welcome. He says, Srila Krishna Pad is here. I said, Krishna Pad? I never even heard Srila Krishna Pad. Never heard. He took us upstairs into the reception rooms, and then Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj comes, and of course I remember the darshan. I mean, like I've said, it's like he smiles. There's like 1,000 suns rising in the room at one time. And he sat and spoke for us. We just come from the flight. We were not changed or bathed or anything for 3 hours. He just sat and just preached to us. There wasn't visitors coming at that time. Actually, there was some issues. It was a new Vrindavan, and His Holiness actually he wasn't attending the GBC meetings for a few years because he was upset. Actually, he was hurt by God brothers, how they dealt with him. So we came, and he treated us like representatives of ISKCON, and we felt that we're hearing and cared for us. He was so concerned because how we're going to live, how we're going to be able to survive in Africa, in Lagos. You know, the prasadam. There was this. What is that? Call that big long thing? Yeah, yam. It's like a boiled. I mean, what to say? Like halva with no sugar or nothing. And I used to just eat it and just try to close my eyes and meditate on halva just to be able to swallow. And the heat, the mosquitoes. You had to surround yourself with those coils, like the yogis surrounded by 5 fires, just to sleep. And you'd reach your hand up the planes. It was right near the airport. You just reach your hand up. You could touch the planes as they were taking off. The sound. So Maharaj, he was there in West Africa. He was focusing on that. There were the issues with the leadership, but it wasn't that he was just lamenting in some quiet place. He took on the mission. It's such a difficult mission in Africa. He mentioned to me that 6 times he'd come to Africa without return ticket. Without return ticket. Somehow or other he gets there and without even worrying about how to get back to the West. And Africa was an extraordinary place. You couldn't really differentiate between beggars and robbers. It was kind of like the margin. You know, you'd be traffic jam going into Lagos, and these people would be like scratching on the windows, banging on you, give me money, give me money, give me money. It was like, wow, so intense. When the airport experiences that we have 100 times worse in India. Lagos airport, it's undescribable. So it was very intense. It's
nice now.
That's encouraging. I remember that the sign, Nigerian Air, was just like banged on with a nail, and it was just like swinging. You know, with the checking, Nigerian Air was like swinging. Hundreds of people trying to get the flight. Was 120 seats. They check it. The 500 tickets they sold, and they give the boarding passes for like 200 people. So when they announce departing from gate, the people are running. You know, it's like the strongest survive. The strongest get a seat. It was very intense. Maharaj told us. He said, 100 years ago, the devotees of brahmacharis in the temple. 100 years ago, they were in different tribes. They were killing each other. And now we're living in the same brahmachari ashram. So it was we got to come down from Mangalati.
And then after Mangalati, His Holiness would sit, immediately after Mangalati, he would sit on Vyasa and give class. Class right after Mangalati. We'd sit, listen to class, 45 minutes, and then he'd remain sitting on Vyasa and chant japa. We'd all be sitting there chanting japa. He'd sit there the whole time for an hour and a half, chanting japa. And then Guru Puja, we'd have Guru Puja. And ecstatic, they had these big drums. It was like a Congo, like a Congo drum, huge drum, and it had a steel frame, and there's dancing, there's special type of, like a, what do you call that, a trance-like, they get into the trance. It's a very mystical place. Africa is a very mystical place. On the beach there in Lagos, many times you'd see the baptisms, and the priests are there, and the people are crying, and the water, baptizing. They're very emotionally, spiritually awakened place. His preaching there was so had the Kirtan. We do the Kirtan, Prabhupada Guru Puja, and then we just spill out. Kirtan would just spill out onto the street, and we'd go. It wasn't a wealthy neighborhood at all. It was I forget the name of the suburb, but it was near the airport, and it was just like poor people, like you see in those areas in India, like what we call slum. It was like that. And we're just going from door. We're just going through the paths and the streets and doing kirtan. Maharaj had that drum, and he's dancing. Kirtan would go on for hours. That was before breakfast. Have the kirtan. There was one program we went to in a church, and the pastor was there. All the men were on one side, all the ladies were on one side, and they were kind of wearing almost like robe type of things, like they come for the church ceremony. And so Maharaj started Kirtan. He was at the front, devotees were also sitting in the pews, and Maharaj started Kirtan. He had that drum, and then he's dancing, and Maharaj he was going up and down the aisle, dancing, and I could see all the people, all the natives, they're there, and they're kind of like, they were like desiring, the Kirtan Rosh. They wanted to enter into Shay Rosh Majiya, Mukhe Bolo Hari Hari, Vishwai Chariya. They wanted to enter into that. They were attracted, and Maharaj is going up and down, and then the pastor, he's sitting on the pulpit, and then he raises his arms like this, and he says, Alleluia! And that was the signal, and everybody jumped up, all the people, and they're dancing, and so wonderful. Maharaj showed us, he personally showed us a video. He had, in those days it was big drives, DVD drive, put it in on the big TV in his room, and the Guru, the weekly broadcast, the Guru. And it was so fascinating. Maharaj is sitting there on a Vyasa, big Vyasa, and there's devotees, disciples there, chamor, fanning him with the chamor. There was a couple of sannyasinis also. They're sitting there, the avant-garde preaching of Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj, and then people would just call up and ask questions, and on the spot, and he would answer, and it was so popular. And he was appreciated by all of the leaders in the different states in Nigeria, and he was honored as a king. In some of the places, he was honored as a king and given the robes and the paraphernalia of a king, which he would... A chief, thank you, a chief. Yeah, and he was given the paraphernalia of a chief, like he had this staff, like with the Nishingadev had his staff, and then the robes, the different... He showed us, personally showed me his wardrobe with... Is it the kaftan, is it called? The African, Nigerian, the long thing, the men wear them. It's very nice casual dress and different colours and a hat. He would use that for preaching. He'd use it for preaching in the West also. He's a very mystical person, very mystical. He had mystic cities, I personally witnessed. One time in the Bhagavatam class, he said, I could embarrass each and every one of you with what's gone through your mind in the last 15 minutes. He didn't go on to any further details, but... he could read minds, and what other mystic cities he had? That one I saw. He could read minds. I was there. We were selling paintings, collecting. I kind of like I joined the movement, and then I was sent off foreign countries with wig and selling paintings. And I thought we'd be preaching, but I was maintaining the temples. But he said to me, I said, I said, it's a little tough, I don't really like all this, selling the paintings and the business and all. He said, your time will come. He said, your time will come. I said, I learn slokas. It's the only thing that keeps me sane, going to meeting these people day after day. I learn slokas. And so then a couple of days later in the class, he was giving the class and he said, and then Krishna says, what's that sloka? Yeah, me bhakta jana. What's that? And looks at me and says, what's that sloka? And smiles, this smile, which I couldn't believe he was enjoying, encouraging. He loved everybody. And he could encourage everybody. You just felt so attracted to him. He actually said, why don't you come on a tour and we'll do a whole tour of Africa preaching. But at that time I had other obligations. We had to collect funds for the temple, so we weren't able to do that. I remember he said to me at that time, he said, you should pray to Krishna that whatever is required for you to get purified and go back to Godhead, those things happen. He said that. He said that, of course, there's so many great achievements. I remember that those they were controversial, the books and the preaching style, but he was such an avant-garde, such a frontline. He was way ahead of his time. Bhakti Tirtha, he was 20 or 30 years ahead of his time. And he's gone now. He was original bridge preaching. And in those days, it was the 80s. It was just we didn't really see that things could be done in different ways. But he was way ahead of his time. And devotee care, that's moving into the departure mood. But we won't discuss so much on the Vyasa Puja day. But the whole devotee care movement actually began from his departure. And caring for the younger generation in the movement. Last moment of interaction I had with His Holiness here in Mayapur, he was walking, striding, and to the temple, and he looked at me and he said, I'd like to do that Bhakti Shastri course sometime. So once again encouraging me. Well, I never was fortunate to be able to have an experience like that. However, as so many of Maharaja's exalted disciples, Bhakti Vasadev Maharaj and Bhakti Charadeshna Maharaj and Srivas people, I was fortunate to be able to help them study the Bhakti Shastri. So Srila Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj ki Vyasa Puja Mahamahotsava.
So power is off. So we have to speak at the top of our voices. Unfortunately, I've lost my voice. So we will manage until light comes back. So we thank Atul Krishna Prabhu for his sweet memories of his interaction with Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj. I think we would like to also invite Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj disciples to also speak. So on this note, we want to
It's on.
So we want to invite one Mataji, one of our ladies, to say something because we don't want it to just be one way. So we have Kritimala Mataji to say a few words. He has interacted with Bhaktitirtha Maharaj, and we'd like to say some words of appreciation. Bhaktitirtha Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. I didn't have much personal
interaction with Maharaja, but from very beginning of my Krishna consciousness, 95, I was in Mayapur, and somehow I was in Canada, they didn't have enough representative from Canada, so one person came to me and said, come in GBC meeting. I don't know anything about this. So I would just sit, and he gave a speech in GBC meeting, and I was amazed. He was chastising. He was chastising so severely. I was amazed. I said, okay, what is this? Later on, I would take his classes and books to see who he is. Then once he came in Montreal, and I was there. Then he came in Toronto, I was there. Then he went to Dallas for Radiyatra, I was going there. And I just couldn't understand what is Krishna consciousness, because I said, if it's this Krishna consciousness, I will not be able to succeed it, because I was in beginning. It's so intense. And once when he came in Montreal, he gave beautiful class about Holiness. Everybody was amazed. Then when he was in New Vrindavan, when he was sick, I went there, and they didn't allow us to see him. Only Radhanath Maharaj was with him. So this, his example, I was listening his classes, what he was giving in former Yugoslavian countries, cities, and when I read his last book, and I realized he was really teaching how to practice bhakti, how to live a body, everything. He was accomplishing everything for devotees who want to know what is this Krishna consciousness about. So I read many his books, and sometimes I hear also his classes. And I'm very, very much inspired by his devotion, his intensity for preaching. And I can see his disciples, they have abide the mood of intensity of preaching. I was in Maharaj Vasudev class, and I was amazed how he, in relaxed mood, telling everything. So I am very grateful that my friend Nirvani, she invited me. I was sick last few weeks, but she said, come, there is a very nice meeting you will hear. I know you like Maharaj. And thank you to all of you who reminding us what is dedication, what is bhakti, what is love. He is like representative of full dedication, devotion, and love. I will not take much because I really didn't have personal relationship with him. I just was hearing from him. I was new devotee, and I was hearing his classes. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to tell some memory about Maharaja. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And Grace, Kirtamala Devi Dasi Ki Jai. So we have just received a message from Jai Tirtha Swami Maharaj. And so we will let Mataji read the message.
My dear devotees, please accept my best wishes. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj. I wanted to be with you for the Vyasa Puja festival, but I'm having my dialysis now.
Maharaj has instructed him to come and read.
Oh, okay. You were reading Guru Maharaj.
Sorry.
I'm so sorry. I just forgot.
You can sit here, Prabhuji. Please come in.
Oh, okay. Hi, Krishna. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Tirtha Swami Niti Namine. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. So this is a message from His Holiness Tirtha Swami for the devotees, and then he has written his homage to His Holiness Srila Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj. The message for the devotees. My dear devotees, please accept my best wishes. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj. I wanted to be with you for the Vyasa Puja festival, but I'm having my dialysis now, so I'm not able to be in person, so I thought I'll send my offering. Hope this finds all of you in good health and blissful Krishna consciousness. Yours in service, Srila Tirtha Swami. Okay, homage to Bhaktitirtha Swami Maharaj. My dear God brother, His Holiness Bhaktitirtha Swami Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. On this auspicious occasion of your Vyasa Puja, we reflect on your extraordinary contributions to Srila Prabhupada's mission. You were a true pioneer in spreading Krishna consciousness, taking the message of Lord Chaitanya to places and people that few could have dared to approach. You were very merciful and always tried to enthuse the devotees. I remember how you cultivated leaders, guided the entire communities, and helped establish a strong ISKCON presence in Africa, fulfilling Srila Prabhupada's desire for the movement to spread worldwide. You met with the kings, diplomats, and high-ranking officials, sharing Srila Prabhupada's teachings and offering them the wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita. I recall how you led the Gita Nagari farm community in America, working tirelessly to establish self-sufficiency, develop devotee care, and create a practical example of Krishna-conscious living. You did not just preach the philosophy, you lived it, by showing by example how a devotee should be dedicated, humble, and always engaged in service. When Srila Prabhupada instructed you to go behind the iron curtain and preach, he asked all the senior sannyasis, GBCs, to bless you. We said, when Srila Prabhupada, you are there, your blessing would be enough. But Prabhupada said, he is doing a very dangerous service behind the curtain in the Soviet Union. So you should all bless him and your prayers will be with him. At that time, your name was Ganesham Das, and later you became my close friend. Somehow, your Vyasa Puja falls during the Gaur Purnima festival, so we would arrange a humble kind of Vyasa Puja ceremony on the roof, lotus rooftop. We used to arrange a special flower set, Guru Puja, and a cake for your Vyasa Puja. There were very few people who would understand me But you were one of such person. You gave me good and valuable advice as a god brother. Then I came to see you in Gita Nagari when you were leaving the planet. At that time, you told me 3 things: to go to West Africa and preach, to attend some big festival in Gita Nagari, and to give siksha to any encouragement to your disciples who wanted it. So far, I've been able to do all 3 things. I've gone to West Africa many times, attended your Samadhi inauguration in Gita Nagari, and tried to help your disciples. I saw that in Gita Nagari, due to the influence of cancer, your bones had become very thin. You were going down the dirt road to give class, taking great risks. I told the devotees that they should go up and hear your class. Why put you in danger? You were so kind, and I had the opportunity to stay overnight with you. In many different ways, you helped me, and I certainly feel indebted to you. I hope that all your disciples and devotees keep up the commitments to you and try to expand the Sankirtan movement as you did. Some of your disciples have taken the responsibility of being gurus, and they are doing it well. But Srila Prabhupada said in a class in Mayapur in 1975 that we should have 10,000 acharyas and then expand to 100,000 and then to 1,000,000, and from 1,000,000 to 10 million acharyas. So I hope that more of your disciples will take up the responsibility of being gurus. Your servant, Jayapataka Swami.
Jai, His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj Ki. So, Jayapataka Maharaj has been to West Africa a number of times, and many disciples of Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj have taken shelter of him as the Siksha, and he's always eager to assist. And as he mentioned, it is the desire of Jayapataka Maharaj that many more of Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj disciples take up the responsibility of becoming initiating gurus. So he's always requesting from us we should come up with more names of Maharaj disciples who are ready to do this service. So we thank him very much for his guidance, for his love, for his concern, and we are happy that he was able to send his offering on this auspicious occasion. Now we shall invite His Grace Rida Prabhu to make his offering. Rida Prabhu is a close associate of Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj. When Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj went to South Africa, Rida Prabhu was there, and they had such intimate relationships. So you might even tell us some of the pastimes of Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj in South Africa. I think he was there when Maharaj met Mandela and had King Buthelezi and the rest of them. So maybe Rida Prabhu can tell us some of the pastimes of Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj in South Africa. Shamasundari Mataji, can you come forward? Shamasundari Mataji, where is she? Your husband wants you to come forward.
अनिरुद्ध प्रभु एक और चेयर लगा अनिरुद्ध प्रभु
Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Chanini Vishesha
अनिरुद्ध प्रभु एक और चेयर लगाना होगा तो ले आइएगा वहाँ से ले आइए.
So, Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur, 1838 to 1914, a great spiritual master and acharya in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, explains the influence of Vaishnava carries in this world even after his departure. His poems were published by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj in the Harmonist magazine in 1929. Edition. He reasons ill who tells that Vaishnavas die. Thou art living, still and sound. The Vaishnavas die to live, and living try to spread a holy life around. Difference. So there's the difference. Who can tell me the difference to what ISKCON says and what Bhaktivedanta Thakur says? Who knows the difference? All right? You know the difference? So, from that point of view, we can understand the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is standard. But the holy way of life is more important, because any ritual worker or any person on the Harinam or any person walking around chanting Hare Krishna can understand that. But the holy way of life is a different story. And in this mantra, we can understand the legacy of Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj is very powerful. His books, his Vyasa Puja offerings every year, they're very potent. And even his teachings have come to the attention of very well.
I'll give you a quotation. An article was published in Executive Excellence in America, where the heads of state and former heads of state and famous authors published their work. Ken Shelton, editor of the journal, right? Executive Excellence, said of Bhakti Tirtha, his work on leadership sets a new standard explicitly because he explores the spiritual dimension in ways which popular gurus like Stephen R. Covey, Kevin Cashman, Ken Blanchard have not done. So this is the special ability that Maharaj had, that he could reach out to a different type of disciple, a different type of audience, and he had multifarious ways of doing that. Sometimes he could go to a mosque explicitly. He had his disciple Gopal, my son, who went tirelessly to Agra, which is in Uttar Pradesh, to have these beautiful Islamic hats made. So that and it took maybe 6 months to 1 year to acquire them. And finally they came to me in my home in London. And Bhakti Tirtha came in the bedroom and he loved it. He put these hats on, beautiful embroidered, golden embroidered, about 6 different hats. And it wasn't for his dress. It was so that he could address the Islamic audience. So like that, he had special abilities, not just for Afro-Americans, not just for Africans, for all kinds of people. One time in London, he took on a disciple that was a drug addict. He was wired to some kind of speed.
He was from Iran. And he was strung out, and Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj tried to help him. He even initiated it out of his compassion. I won't give you his name, it's not fair. But this is the qualities of a bona fide teacher, a spiritual realized teacher. That he can reach out to all kinds of people without any discrimination. That's the point. And that was his special quality. There are some stories, I'm just trying to recall them now. But I'll take a little break. My son Gopal is in Rishikesh right now. He wants to make a little offering. And hopefully we can hear it. I'll see if it can be played. Turn the volume up.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Gurudev, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Vanchakalpa Tarupyascha Kripa Sarupya Patitanam Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha. I send my offering and dandavats to His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami from the banks of the holy river Ganga in Haridwar, Rishikesh. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend again this year in Mayapur. I have a commitment here with 30 yoga students who we are taking around Haridwar, Rishikesh, and then eventually bringing to Vrindavan. It's my sincere apologies for not being able to physically attend. However, Srila Bhakti Tirtha Swami Gurudev, you have inspired so many devotees and continue to do so from the spiritual world. I strongly feel your presence every morning as I chant my japa in the Brahma Muhurta hours. I become inspired by you to chant more than 16 as your exemplary japa showed yourself. Personally, you would not chant 16 rounds, you would chant, I believe, a minimum of 20. And that's very inspiring, and that is giving me enthusiasm. In the last 6 months, I have been traveling almost every single month in some capacity, serving devotees and preaching programs all over the world. By your grace, you nicknamed me once as a young brahmachari. You nicknamed me Narada Muni. So I'm kind of like a nectar bumblebee, flying wherever the nectar is, wherever there's an opportunity for seva and service. And what a glorious 75th Appearance Day celebration today. I have also had an invitation from Srivas Prabhu and Bhakti Tirtha Damodara Swami to visit West Africa. Hopefully sometime in the future I will do that and spend some time with the yatra there and teach Mridanga cartels, do some workshops for the devotees. All glories to you, Gurudev, all glories to your enthusing and inspiring and helping and healing devotees. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
So we can see that the fruit of Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj's disciples are evolving as we get older, like myself, I'm 76 this year. We will disappear off the face of the planet. But then the disciples of the leaders of ISKCON, they will carry on, and it's their duty to imbibe the mood of Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, of compassion. Because this is, although he was evolved from a very difficult background in America, a Christian background, but still he carried that compassion with great sincerity And with great difficulties in his life, he had so many difficulties. He was even arrested in the Romania, and in his travels in the Eastern Bloc countries. He was dragged away from entering Mauritius by some nefarious people who said, you cannot even get off this aeroplane, you cannot deplane. We're arresting you and you go back to where you came from. And Maharaj had such compassion when the ministers heard about this episode, who had contrived to have him deported from the plane, not even the terminal. They made an investigation and found that, well, no, we don't find anything wrong with this person. Why are they ridiculing him? We want him to come back. And out of his compassion, he came back a year later. You see, so disciple is prepared to go to the most political, unstable situation to preach and come out a winner. And this was also Srila Prabhupada's mission. So if you read his books, if you read his memories, then you'll have a glimpse into his life. The Black Lotus, I recommend that. And then you'll see how he struggled. And sometimes we have to struggle. We have to have stumbling blocks in order to show Lord Sri Krishna that we are very sincere in our determination. And he will give us more facilities and more blessings to progress. So that will end here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
So I think Shamashundari Mataji, Srila Prabhu's wife, will make his offering.
Gyanatimurandasya Gyanam Tunam Salakaya Chaksurimitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurve Namaha Namam Vishupadaya Krishnapastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pastatadi Satarine Panchakalpa Tarubhyuscha Kripa Sindhubhya Vicha Patitanam Pavinabhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha. So my husband, he's always been traveling with Maharaja and I, bringing up children and doing my service as a pujari. I didn't really get to be personal with Maharaj till two of my children, Brinda, Vrindavaneshwari, and Gopal, took initiation from Maharaj. So I thought I need to show gratitude to serve Maharaj. So at the manor, he was standing next to Shivaram Maharaj, and I approached him and said, thank you for giving shelter to the youth and also my children. So he told me it's my service to Srila Prabhupada to give shelter to his grandchildren, and he was very, very compassionate, tolerant and kind to the Gurukulis. So I began serving Maharaj, cooking for him on his way from India and on his way to India. So I don't really like sannyasis to be at the mercy of the cooks. I always asked him, what do you want, Maharaj? And he specifically told me what he wanted me to cook. And from India, he liked Western preps. Favorites were pizzas and ice cream. And we had a home program. Maharaj wouldn't eat till Tribhuvanath came, and he was so delayed. And Maharaj was so kind. My daughter was getting married at Gitanagari, and he, as a sannyasi guru, in his baggage carried all her wedding outfit. Now, where do you see a sannyasi, But Maharaj done that. And just trying to remember. Yeah, I was very, very busy. I had like 3 programs, cooking for schools, the Raj Bhoga, different. But he always wanted me to do his cooking till eventually he started getting disciples. But whenever he came, he always wanted me to cook his offerings. And personally, he'd wait till he sees me to thank me. He's given me different, numerous occasions, gifts. And he told me it's an honor to our family to have a son like Gopal. So, Maharaj, when he departed, we done the memorial service at Bhaktivedanta Manor. And most amazing disciples. In England, we have Buddha Bhavana. Chitti Shakti does a lot of Zoom classes, takes groups. And a disciple represents the Guru, and we can see from Maharaj's disciples that he's given shelter, the amazing service they're doing. So thank you very much, Maharaj, for engaging me. And please continue blessing the disciples, because it's difficult, it's very hard. I mean, I was 23 years old when Srila Prabhupada left, following instructions, GBC, Guru, Temple President, and doing service. And that's how our new generation has to follow in the same footsteps. It's very important because the youth, new generation is a future. Many Srila Prabhupada disciples are departing. And they have to carry on the movement. So thank you very much for me to share these memories. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Shamasume Mataji, and to all the other devotees who have given their offerings. It is especially special for us who did not get to meet Maharaj. We're being able to meet him in his memories. So next we'll have His Grace Sikhi Mahiti Prabhu.
So Sikhi Mahiti Prabhu is one of the devotees that was sent by Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj in the early days of the preaching in West Africa. Haribo. So Sikhi Mahiti in Ghana, he was our Sankirtan leader. Actually, he taught me how to distribute Prabhupada's books. He inspired me to actually become a full-time devotee. His inspiration, I don't think I'll be here. So anytime I see him, I remember my past. So thank you very much for your inspiration, and you continue to inspire me on the path of bhakti. Thank you.
Who has inspired me, just seeing how all the years, there's so many reasons not to be in the movement, right? But it takes love for Prabhupada, Bhaktitirtha to keep going. That's what keeps us going. So it's amazing. I remember I went to East Africa for a while, did some preaching, but the preaching in West Africa was so sweet. I loved it. Intellectual people. We have a Kirtan. Some people would gather. There's enough people to gather, you could give a little short speech sometimes. And they sit and listen and ask intelligent questions. Challenge, nice questions, not rude, or sometimes Christians, of course, would be. And honest, because they could accept, okay, this is nice philosophy. I'll buy one book. Where do you have that opportunity anywhere in the world? You just give a lecture and people, oh, okay, very nice. Okay, I'll buy one book. No, usually you have to kind of sometimes, hey, this will make you feel better, it could give you better mental health, or so many little side things. Not just, Krishna's God, you're not the body, like that. So, and then give classes too, the people would come. And in the beginning, we kind of generally talk, but they would have their book with it. Excuse me, why are you saying like that? Over here it says like this. It says, oh, okay, I better be. It's like in India, you have to really speak shastrically. You can't just have something to back it up too, not just. So you can see amongst the sannyasis and all. I mean, Prabhupada initiated so many devotees in East Africa. Where are they now? You don't see them. I don't know what happened to them. But the nature of the devotees that we were able to approach in West Africa were very high, as we can see, of course. Very high, very responsible, dedicated. So I won't speak too long, but what I remember most about, I'll say about Bhakti Tirtha when he was Ganesham. That's how I mostly knew him. And as we all know, his qualities of his humility, his kindness, and he seemed to always gravitate to the people who needed the most help. In those days in ISKCON, of course, it wasn't a lot of times, opportunities for kind of fun stuff, I guess you could say, like they have now. We got Kirtan Mela, Japa retreats. No, it was no time. Nobody even thought about that. We were too busy because Prabhupada wanted so many books published, so many things that gave us to keep us occupied. And everybody, as far as I remember, we all wanted to be able to have Prabhupada at least recognize us, and say, thank you, Sikhi Mihidi. That was the goal. I wanted to hear that. But there are so many devotees doing such phenomenal things. You had to surpass them. How are you going to surpass them? It was like, especially I was a new devotee, kind of young. And Bhakti Tirtha, materially speaking, so highly qualified, Princeton graduate. He had been involved in the civil rights movement somewhat, so he knew how to deal with so many levels of people. And even though he kind of joined in the middle era of ISKCON, still he was able to do phenomenal things. Even with the book party, how he was selling those books. You don't have any of the book party members here. Krishna Kshetra Swami, if you see him, you get him to talk about that. They were in awe of what he could accomplish. And then, of course, somehow or another from that book party going into Russia, all the preaching he was doing, which caught Prabhupada's attention. Everybody desired. And he was able to do that to the point, like we was mentioning, Prabhupada, that you pray for him. And he personally wanted his letters all the time. So, phenomenal. And I mean, of course, that must be a sign of someone who's sent for do something very specific. Most of us, like myself, I think we're there to assist. I can wash some pots, I can distribute some books, but I couldn't do all those things. I didn't have the ability to do those things. One thing personally, I remember Maharaj did for me, because again, in that movement, mostly we were just trying to fulfill Prabhupada's desire and do extraordinary things so Krishna would keep Prabhupada here. We knew that's why Krishna would keep him, so let us keep pushing like that. But everyone would like to, some personal association. But that he reserved that for the devotees who are doing the big leadership things. And so, myself as a small devotee in that sense, he came to Chicago. There's no morning walk, there's no darshan. You don't even see the Maha. They don't make it past the door. And went to Detroit, same thing. Get any of that, you're too new. So I had the opportunity to come to Mayapur in 77, and I was thinking, I said, I want some Prabhupada Maha, and I want to be in a room with Prabhupada. I really want those. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I really wanted it. And I was getting Brahmin here at that time, so I figured, okay, I'll get Prabhupada, put the Brahmin thread, all those things. But anyway, so when we arrived in Mayapur in those days, it was just a little bit of the long building and the Lotus building, I guess. And, and there was no organization. You just go get your room. First come, first serve. So I said, this is my opportunity to see Prabhupada, because everybody's busy getting a room. So I figure, where's Prabhupada's room? I get up to the door, and there's one sannyasi standing there. So I want to see Srila Prabhupada. He said, come back later for darshan. I'm like, they're never going to let me in for darshan. I'm too new. And I was like, man, I was lamenting, you know, and I looked around, I said, the way the building is designed, there must be a back door. So Prabhupada said, Sikhi Mihiri, but I think he meant sneaky Mihiri. Let me go to the back door. I kind of gingerly walk around, go to the back door, and sure enough, the back door is wide open. And Prabhupada's sitting right there. You see how his room's configured, right? And he's speaking to these Bengali gentlemen who were they were local people, I guess. They weren't even devotees. And I just sat in the door. I didn't go in. I was like, wow, I'm right next to Prabhupada. I can't believe it, you know. And Bhakti Tirtha, who's Ganesham, was in the room. But, you know, he had that privilege to be like, you know. And he saw me, he goes, come on in. I was like, wow. And he put me right there. I sat in the corner. And I was like, oh. And Prabhupada was speaking in Bengali, so I can understand what he's saying or anything. And eventually those gentlemen got up to leave. And I'm sitting there, and they go to the door, and that sannyasi opens the door, and he sees me sitting there. I'm like, oh, God. I turn, I look at Prabhupada, and I close my, please don't kick me out. I'm not going to make a disturbance. I just want to be in the room with you, that's all. I was just silently praying like that. And the door shut, and it was just me and Prabhupada. And I was in that room for about an hour. He didn't put me out, whatever. So I think Prabhupada let me sit in there because Bhakti Tirtha was so dear to him. And he saw him invite me in, so through his mercy, I got one of those desires fulfilled. So His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj Ki.
His Grace Sikhimaji Prabhu Ki. So we would like you to visit West Africa once more and see the seeds you've sown 40 years ago, 42, 43 years ago. You have generated into trees. You come and witness.
You guys did that on your Muslim week.
Thank you so much. So next we'll have His Holiness Vedanta Varaha. His Holiness Varaha Maharaj.
Om Janatimirandasya Janadina Salakaya Chaksu and Militam Yena Tasme Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Mahavandanyaya Krishna Premvadayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Govate Namaha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopishwa Gopikanta Radhakanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sukhi Devi Pranamami Haripriye. So I had the good fortune of going to university in Washington, D.C. And that's where Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj at one time had a base. So he was, we come from the same tribe. We both had university education. He went to Princeton, I went to Howard. Dave Amrita went to Yale. Sesha Prabhu went to West Point. I mean, there was a level of intelligence there that was prevalent. And so Bhakti Tirtha and I became very, very intimate discussing the future of Krishna consciousness in the world. He thought like that. When other people were selling books, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj was selling sets, complete sets of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavatam books, no, sets at universities. First person to do that. And he confided into me how he was able to preach in the Iron Curtain countries in Russia. It was because Russia was recruiting Africans for free university in Moscow and St. Petersburg like that. And so Bhakti Tirtha, he didn't look like me. I look a little like Bengali, but he looked African. And so because he was an African, there was some like blanket clause, don't disturb the Africans. And so he was able to go to universities and sell these sets of books, full sets. It was amazing what he did. So he told me that's how it happened, because he was educated and he was in Washington, D.C. is where all the embassies are. He was able to meet with ambassadors and say he wants to go to his country, that country, and they said, no problem, you can go. You must learn Russian. He wasn't planning on learning Russian, but he was planning on distributing Prabhupada's books. So the point I want to make is he thought very, very big. He thought in a world-like manner. And he had some electric energy also in his preaching. I mean, he was able to, he developed a new concept. Like brahmacharis are known to be dog soldiers. Like a brahmachari is a soldier. Whatever you have to do in the field, whatever. But Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj took it to the next level. Not a dog soldier, a spiritual warrior. And this caught the imagination of everybody. I mean, the concept, it's really, really very, very good. And so then he printed books about this. And then he explained the concept. And basically, that's what we all are. We all are spiritual warriors. In Mahaprabhu's mission, serving Srila Prabhupada. That's basically what we all are. You know, we're soldiers. Don't think that we're not soldiers. We're not Kshatriyas, no. But we're soldiers in the Brahmana line. Brahmana and Brahmani line, we're soldiers. You know, we fight for truth. We fight for justice. We preach bhakti all around the world. Srila Prabhupada's books are everywhere. Everywhere. Every single country they've been translated. Every single country they've been distributed. So we have to keep this momentum going. But you have to be practical too. Because now, internet is everything. Everybody wants ebooks. So we have to adjust to that also. We can still do physical books. But we must also think ebooks. Because now you can give a set of ebooks to the library. I mean, somebody must be doing that already, right? Yeah, okay. Because we have to always adjust and change with the times, you know? Kids don't have emails anymore. They have Facebook. I never had Facebook. I only have email. But we have to keep in touch with the times. So one more thing I want to say about Bhakti Tirtha is his compassion. Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had a disciple named Mukunda. And Mukunda had a brother named what? Who was his brother? Vasudev Datta. So Vasudev Datta saw the suffering of all the people in Bengal at the time. You have to understand that Mahaprabhu appeared in Bengal because Bengal was the most fallen part of India. It was controlled totally by Muslims. You know, Chand Kazi broke the Mridanga because they were just doing Kirtan. So Mahaprabhu took birth there. That's where he appeared. And Nityananda appeared later. So they started the Sankirtan mission there. So after the episode of Jagaya Magai, where Nityananda got hit with the pot and he stopped Mahaprabhu from calling Sudarshan Chakra, Chakra, then Vasudev, in his heart, welled up emotions. He said, Sri Chaitanya, please, let me accept all the sins for all the souls in all the earth. I'll take their sins on my back and then you can release them. Sri Chaitanya, he got very, very soft and he said, tears in his eyes, says, you don't have to do that. Krishna doesn't have to blink for that to happen. By your mercy, this will happen. So we understand from that story that all the jivas that were on earth at the time of Mahaprabhu, they went back to Golok, you know, by Mahaprabhu's kripa. So that story touched Bhakti Tirtha's heart very much. And at a time when ISKCON was in turmoil and in distress, Bhakti Tirtha had the thought that if he could take all the sins of ISKCON upon himself, then ISKCON would be free for the 10,000 year golden age. And so he accepted this vow and he made Sankalpa. Now once you make Sankalpa, even Krishna cannot change it. Once you make Sankalpa, even Krishna cannot change it. And so he doesn't have the power to take back the words of his surrendered devotees. So from the time that Bhakti Tirtha took that vow, and I'm 76, all right? I have a strong body. But Bhakti Tirtha's body was more strong than mine. He had like, you know, carbonite body. He was very, very strong. Very, very strong. He's 1 year younger than me. He was born in 1950. But he's very, very strong. But from the moment he took that vow, he started to get sick. Because the sins that he was trying to absorb was just too much. And he didn't have Chaitanya Mahaprabhu there to say, no, Bhakti Tirtha, you don't have to do that, because he didn't have that. And so from that time on, he began to get sick. So I heard about this. So I flew to meet him. I said, Maharaj, did you really make Sankalpa? He said, I'm doing this for Prabhupada. It was always for Prabhupada, not for himself. You know, if this can help ISKCON, if this can help Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, I will do this. And so I said, no, you shouldn't have done it. You shouldn't have done it. Did you make full Sankalpa? He said, Sankalpa is Sankalpa. You know, once you make it, you cannot retract it. And so in this way, I said, oh, my brother. I mean, we were so close that we bought Nishingadev rings together. Because we were thinking, like, we need some extra protection. So we had the Nishingadev mantra. So we went to the jeweler. There's one jeweler we went to, and we got 2 rings. I got mine in gold. He got his in silver. I wore mine on the right hand. He wore his on the left hand. You know, right? And I said, no, you should wear it on the right. He said, no, this is where it's supposed to go for him. So I said, okay, Maharaj, you know. And so, anyway, to make a long story short, his compassion was awesome, you know. Who here among you would say, I'll take all the sins of ISKCON on me? So, who? Stand up. Who? Anybody, stand up. Yeah. No, that doesn't count. It doesn't count. Nobody would do this, you know? Nobody would do this. As noble as I could be, I would not do this, you know? Because I would think, like I said to him, you could have made thousands of devotees in this time. Thousands, because everybody, Bhakti Tirtha was the buzzword at that time. Oh, Bhakti Tirtha in town. Oh, Bhakti Tirtha. Because he was exciting. He caused some excitement. He was caused people to have a mind flip, you know. People started thinking in a different way, you know. That was also around the time that Ayendra was doing his Kirtan Mela in Vrindavan also. So many young people were coming. In fact, Gopal came through Ayendra before he got to Bhakti Tirtha, you know. I mean, he was inspired by both. So the point I want to say is he had great compassion, he had great self-sacrifice, which is a quality very rarely found. You know, everybody wants Pratishta. Everybody wants Pratishta. Yes, I'll do this for you, but I want my name on the poster. I mean, I'm talking general, but he didn't want any Pratishta. He kept his secret, you know. I don't know if he told anybody else he made Sankalpa, but he told me for sure. And he said, I made Sankalpa now, I'm resigned to it. And so then I said, okay, Maharaj, then so be it. So continue on, chant more, and enter into the eternal leelas of Sri Srimati Radharani and Krishna. Thank you very much.
Now we'll have another disciple of Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj.
So Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj is from a French-speaking country, some Ivory Coast, and he is spearheading the preaching there. Maharaj personally sent him to India in his brahmachari days to do Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhava, and then after that he said, now share the knowledge you have learned in India with the rest of West Africa. And so Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, he's sharing the knowledge. Now he's one of the initiating gurus in West Africa. He has many disciples around the world, and he's sharing the knowledge that Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj sent him to learn from Mayapur Institute. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnu Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Tirtha Swami Namne. Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Satmane Shri Gaura Karuna Sakti Bhakti Namne. Om Jnanam Timna Jnana Janashara Gaya Takshum Kantas Guru Nam Kampuru Yachyaram. Om Nagade Girim Nete Pahamade Sikuru. Hare Krishna. So I will conduct my small message into 3 parts. First, when I met Gurudev. Second part, when I was staying with him, and the last part after he left. So, meeting Gurudev, it was at the right time, because I was having some issues as young student, and I was having so much influence of my father and my mother. So when I joined ISKCON, I could not have continued if I did not meet Srila Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. Because my father is very, very, very strict. You cannot disobey him. And my mother also had so much influence, a lot of influence. So if you say, please stop this ISKCON thing and come back, I will obey. So when I met Bhaktitirtha Maharaj, I was having like 3 months in the temple. So he came. The first time for me to meet him. And he said, my mother, she wrote a very, very long letter, message. That, yes, you know, I behead you, my womb 9 months. Now this is how you are paying back. I'm suffering, like that. My brother brought that letter, and I read it to Gurudev. And Gurudev told my senior brother that tell your mother that your brother is in the safe hand. I'm his father, and I'm his mother. I was very shocked to hear this. How come someone says my father as my mother? So that gave me full assurance that yes, I'm in a right place, because I was having too much thinking of my mother, my family. So it gave me that assurance that yes, I'm in a good hand. And also, when I gave me initiation, first initiation, and it was like you know, I had to increase my skills, some skills, like cooking skill, and my English also. You know, I'm from French speaking country, so Maharaj come to West Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, other places, but he come also in French countries. So when he comes, he speak English. So someone has to translate. So I'll be hearing lectures on classes on good listening, how to listen very well. But I had to develop that skill very well, because I had to listen very carefully what he's saying and what I had to translate it. Because both of them, Kafishan Maharaj and himself, they visit West Africa. So they speak English and I have to translate. And the English is from America. America's English is very, you know, fast and very difficult to understand. Yeah, so I had to really, you know, develop that skill of speaking good English and to listen very well and translate it very nicely. So I had that opportunity to serve Maharaj, and one time he came and he used to come with one Mataji from Nigeria, Imavati Mataji, to cook for him. But that time, that day, he could not come with the Mataji. So no one to cook for him. So I had to become an emergency cook for him. But I was surprised that Maharaj was liking my cooking. Liking my cooking. So I thank you very much. And the last part is when the Guru leaves the body, leave the planet. That is the most difficult part for a disciple, because we have seen even Srila Prabhupada disciples, any guru that leave the body, that leave the planet, some things happen to some of a disciple. Some leave, some one word is saying in ISKCON, it's got bloop. Some leave ISKCON, some become other things. So that last part is very much important, because I read once booklet of Govinda Maharaj. He said when the guru leave the planet, he compared that to thieves. He said that thieves, they will come and rob those the precious thing that the guru gave to the disciple. So those thieves, they don't come to rob your mobile phone. They don't come to steal your car or your they don't steal material things, but they steal what the guru has planted, the Bhaktilat Bija planted in your heart. When you met the guru for the first time, his duty is to plant the bhakti seed in your heart. And your duty now is to listen to the instruction and to water that seed, to
so that seed can grow and bear fruits, nice fruits. So it is very, very important. So he said, when the Guru departs, when the Guru is no more there, those thieves, they were waiting in the corner, waiting that moment come that they come and rob those things. So when you are with a Guru and you are not properly connected, because we have Vani and we have Vapu. Many devotees, we are too much interested in Vapu. It's good, not bad, but the Vani is very, very much important, because when Vapu is not there, Vani can still continue. So he said himself that when I will leave this planet, I will be even more present in the life of my disciples and well wishers. So I can say that I have that that impression, because I feel that Gurudev is always present. Like 20 years now he has left, but it's like yesterday. I always feel he's present, because I'm connected to him, and I always, anytime I want to sleep, he gave me that instruction. Anytime you need to sleep, read the book, chant a mantra, or remember your Guru. So anytime before going to sleep, I will recite all the pranam of all my synagogue brothers, Srivas Maharaj, Bhakti Vasudeva Maharaj, Bhaktitirtha Maharaj, and many senior devotees, and his pranam mantra, and before I go to sleep. So any issue, any situation difficult that I have, I mention to him before sleeping, I get the solution in the night or some days later. So I feel that Gurudev, yes, he has left, but is always present. Is always present. And Srivas Maharaj was mentioning in the class this morning that Gurudev used to break principle of the doctor. Yeah. So I think Gurudev has that particularity of breaking situations. Because, in Africa or any country, you cannot just go there and take the seat or the king or the head of state. It's not possible. But how come Gurudev was able to become, was made king, not only in the two places, in Nigeria and also in Ghana. If you go in any embassy, if you see, what you see there is the picture of the head of state, right? You cannot see any other picture. So in Africa, we have rules. I've attended one function in Ghana, same Ghana, one king, the king of Kumasi. So he came for a function. So then the head of state that time, I think it was Kufo, so he came to attend that function. So the king was the head of state came, then 20 minutes later, the king came. So they put the seat of the king very far from the president. So after the king sat down, then they call the president to come and leave his seat and come and greet the king. This is how this thing, because the king is representing God. So that happened like that. But Bhaktitirtha Maharaj is coming from America. He's not from Ghana, he's not from Africa. But I don't know what happened, but the devotees, the people, the tradition, the culture there, they recognize in him a king, a leader. So they made him a king. I remember we were doing Kirtan, Harinam in Ghana, and devotees were carrying Gurudev and Palanquin, and some disciple king also following the Harinam. Means he has some kind of Shakti that nobody can understand. Because if you dare to become a king in a place where you don't belong, I think the next time you have. Because when the king is seated, there are two guys with big kutlas. Any mistake, chop head. But Gurudev was able to become a king in an African country. It's really amazing. I mean, he has some power that nobody could understand. And many reasons for us to love Srila Bhakti Maharaj: his charisma, his beauty, his intelligence and energy. One time he came to Africa, Ivory Coast, and one lady she asked me, "Is this man is he married?" I said, no, it's not married. I said, why? He said, because he has made a vow. I said, so you guys in your movement, you are spoiling things. Spoiling things. Such a beautiful person. How can he stay like that? So, and she told me, so you are following him? I said, yes. So Gurudev was really, and it came to Ivory Coast, and we're moving on the streets. Everybody that meet us will stop and look at him. I don't know why. Anybody that's come and meet Gurudev in the street will stop and look at him. He's tall, very brilliant, very shining, very charming. So it was really like when we're with him, you feel very comfortable, like in a big tree, a big shade. So we are all feeling comfortable, very comfortable with the company of Gurudev. So my prayer now is that I don't fall victim of those thieves who will come and rob. The small little, we are trying to cultivate the Bhaktitirtha Bija, though we don't want those thieves to come and rob or destroy that Bhaktitirtha. So I always seek the mercy and the attention and the care of the Vaishnavas and the devotees. And thank to God, we have senior God brothers like Dhira Damodara Maharaj, Srivas Maharaj, Bhakti Vasudeva Maharaj, many more. They are there to always guide us so that we don't lose the track, so that we don't become distracted by many things. Because those thieves, then they come in form of laziness, in form of I'm a senior devotee, in form of many things. Yeah. So we have to protect ourselves so that we become tracked, so that we don't fall victim of this illusion. So we really thank Gurudev. And one thing I remember also that my first and second initiation was different. First, the temple president did not put my name on the list of first initiation. So Gurudev looked at the list and he wrote my name with his pen, his own pen. Yeah. And the second initiation also, because the temple president, he think I'm always a bit stubborn. I was really stubborn. So he said, you cannot become a Brahmana now. You wait. So I got the Brahmanical initiation in a dream. Gurudev gave me the Brahmanical trade in a dream before he came to give him physically.
And mantra too?
Yes.
With mantra?
No, he gave the
thread.
the thread. Yes. Yes. So I think the connection is there is very strong. And I really feel protected, always protected, that Gurudev is always present in my life. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Jai, His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj ki Jai. So we still have a number of speakers, and our time is running out. So we shall request our speakers to be a bit brief, so that we can have everybody making his offering. But there is a request that those of us sitting in front, we can move a little bit in front, because the space at the back is getting limited. So please, those of us sitting in front, move a little bit forward to create opportunity for the people who are just coming. So at this point, we want to invite Jai Gaurasundara Prabhu to say a few words.
ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. I have some anecdotes only, not so much association. In early days, the Maharaj was in library party. At that time, 5 people were in a library party, and Maharaj was there. Some of the devotees, I know them, but the one Satsvarup Maharaj at that time, he was also in a library party. So they travel, and in a place like where is the garden area, they will stay. So one time, one person was a hippie. He came to Satsvarup Maharaj, and he was giving hard time. Then Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, Ghanshyam at that time, he came, he said, "What's going on here?" The person is left side. So that was the, but the later on, when I was, I usually used to go to Gitanagari farm because I lived in Baltimore, and every year I would go there, and we had country style Rath Yatra, and I was taking care of the deity. So one time, the last time, because he had a foot cancer, so he was sitting on a cart where I used to sit. So I went to on that, and we used to have small Jagannath Baladev Subhadra deity of Mother Kaulini. She was president at that time, all the days. So this time he was sitting in my place, so I sat next to Prabhupada, and I told Maharaj, "You're supposed to be out there dancing." He said, "What can I do?" But he gave me oceanic smile, and he said that I would fan Prabhupada. I said, "Fine. At the same time, you can fan Jagannath Dalbale Subhadra also, and I will fan you." he said, no. I said, "No. This is what my place to serve the deities." So I was serving him at that time. So when the early days, was a small area, and the Jagannath, Radha Damodar and Lalita Visakha, they were installed at that time. And early days, there were, so many problems with the management of, of the, so they have invited Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj because he was running the center in Maryland. So when he came, he would start early morning, do the Mangalarti. Now when I go, I used to do that before opening curtain. But one time I was ready to open the curtain for the deity. He came running, he took off his socks, and he said, "Maharaj, what are you doing?" He said, "I'm going to do the arti." I said, "Okay, tomorrow you won't. I will, this is okay, today is okay." He smiled, he opened the curtain, and he did the arti. So after that, I told him, "Maharaj, I was joking. I can't hold you. You should be doing arti whenever you want to." So that was the episode I had with him. So I won't take so much time. Thank you very much. His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Today is a very glorious day, so I think we can do a bit better than that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
And so we've heard from many God brothers, personal friends, Gurudev's disciples, and we'll hear from the Mataji's side now. Her Grace Nairvani Mataji. So as she sits, I would like to recognize the presence of Shishi Gornitai. They have come to listen to the glories of their pure devotees. They're seated just right there in their deity form. Shishi Gornitai ki. Srila Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj ki.
Hare Krishna. I want to apologize because of my broken English. Bhakti Tirtha Swami, he was my Shiksha Guru. I met him when I was dead. It was 2000, and I got his book, How to Transform Lust into the Love. That time I was totally dead with the baby Goranga and with my nasty husband living outside from the temple, which I never want. And he came in that book to me. And it was very interesting question of one lady, one devotee in that book. She was telling Maharaja that as she becoming better, her husband becoming worse. And it was my case. And I was thinking, who's this Krishna Pada Swami? I want to meet him. This book is very, very interesting. Then I heard he's coming to Croatia Camp 2000 in September. And I read this book in April. And when we came with our baby to the camp, it was his lecture. He was speaking about that butterfly who was struggling to come out from the cocoon, and the scientists helped him to break that cocoon, and that he can fly from his miserable condition. But he didn't have a strength to fly, and he just dropped. And he explained actually that all our problems in the life is that we becoming more strong. And actually, at that time I understood that Krishna didn't forget me. And I was just crying, just crying. As for many years, I thought that Krishna forgot me. I was living many years in the temple, distributing books, cooking, and doing many service. And now I ended up as Grihasta with small baby, with my husband, and like that. And he accepted me as aspiring Shiksha disciple. He gave me few very important instructions. First instruction was when you'll be happy, then your child will be happy. So when you first must become happy, and then your child become happy. Because we mothers, we are thinking we should do everything for our children and don't have any time for ourselves and like that, but that is not true. Second, I asked him about education of my son. And he told me, most probably, you must give him the best karmi education. Otherwise, he will be very angry of you when he will grow up. And I was thinking, oh my God, I want my son to go to Gurukul, but I follow his instruction. Now my son is 26, bachelor degree of IT. He is initiated from His Holiness Maharaj, living in the temple in Budapest, doing book distribution. Please bless him. Bhakti Tirtha Swami, he was one of the most special person I ever met. He was always everybody who approached him felt that he is important. And happened 1 year, it was 2003, that we are living room next to room in Croatia. It was 20 years of ISKCON registration in Croatia. It was festival. And now I know I must speak with him now, and though all night I was not sleeping. And then in the morning, of course, I was in the room. He was chanting in the temple room at that house, and he sent his disciple Mataji to invite me. And then I came, and he said, "Oh, we are very much missing your association." And I would just start to cry. Who am I? Some woman totally in Maya. And he's telling that to me. He was invited me to the room to speak with me. And he was, we know, psychotherapist. So he gave me one really good psychotherapy session. It was like 50 questions about all of my life and everything, and my husband and my son and everything here and there in my life. And in the end, he said, "It is not your fault," because I was thinking, as I divorced from my husband, actually he desired that I was thinking it was my fault. And he said, "It is not your fault, it is material desires of your husband." And it was like this stone from my heart just dropped, and I was feel free, So he really helped me very much. And in the end, I sent him a letter 2004 to ask him if he finally accepted me as Shiksha disciple, as I was aspiring Shiksha disciple. And he wrote to me, "I am very honored to accept you as Shiksha disciple." So you see how great personality he was, how he appreciated everybody. It is really symptom of great personality. So, Hare Krishna, all glories to Bhakti Tirtha Swami and now Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So we'll continue to hear. We'll have His Grace, Holy Shri Prabhu.
So we all know Harisari Prabhu. He was Srila Prabhupada's servant for many, many years. So he's going to speak about Bhaktitirtha Maharaj to us.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavabhyo namo namaha. Srila Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. So I'm going to keep this really short. I'm not going to reiterate what's already been said. Just a couple of experiences. I never actually served directly with the Maharaj. I knew about his activities in the library party and how pleased Prabhupada was with him. This is just a little anecdote. Somebody was speaking about his powerful demeanor, presence. I had a friend in Sydney. She was a psychic. So, not really a devotee, but she went to, she lived just down the road from the North Sydney Temple. And one Sunday, she just got this feeling she should go to the temple. She didn't do it very often. And when she got there, it turned out that Bhaktitirtha Maharaj was visiting and giving the class. So she said when she sat in the audience and heard him speaking, she thought, this man is powerful. She didn't know anything about him. She didn't know his name. She didn't know that he was coming to Sydney. But when she just got in his presence, she said she just felt like this man is extraordinary. So that's coming from a non-devotee. but to speak about devotees. So I don't want to keep it any longer. That was just one little story. Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj ki jai.
Great, Hari Prabhu.